Hi, I'm Mark. On behalf of Astro Matrix, this talk today is going to be on the true node moving into Aries, which is on July 17th to 2023. One of the most important shifts in astrology in 2023. So we have been in the Taurus Scorpio north node south node axis for 18 months now, and every 18 months this energy shifts, so it's best to understand how this energy will manifest. So in this video we're going to be talking about what the nodes are briefly, and more importantly how you are going to be affected by this particular transit, and how you might feel, and what specific signs may be impacted, as well as ways to deal with this energy and work with it, and to really move forward in terms of our soul path, our destiny, which is what these nodes are all about. So before we get into it, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. It gets our videos out to more people, allows us to make more content. And speaking of content, let us know what kind of topics you'd like us to talk about here on Astro Matrix channel in depth. So let's get into it. What are the nodes? Well, the nodes are very complicated in a way to explain, but they are very closely connected to the sun and the moon. And so we're not going to talk about it too technically in this video. We might have a specific video on the nodes of the moon and what they actually do and how they are calculated and all those kind of things. But we want to really talk about what astrologically it means. And the north node is the same as the true node. So a lot of people ask, oh, what's the difference? Well, they are actually the same, they're just a different name for it. Sometimes people like north node and south node because it allows us to see that it is a balance, that we do need a north and a south, and they are together in a sense. There's never just one. Even though we do look at it as mostly the north node, we do always kind of want to understand it as both nodes. And at the moment in the Astro Matrix app we don't show the south node, so we're looking to include that in the app this year, so let's hope that happens soon. So speaking of the app though, you can find out where your north node will be and is now using the app. It's if you go to the chart view and the transit view, you will find it in the transit planets in the node section. Will tell you that house, and that's one of the most important parts to know where this node is going to affect you most. For example, if it's in your first house, it might be much more around your sense of self, your assertion, your identity. If it's in your 10th house, it might be much more driven towards your career. So it's very important to know what house that is. Even though we know it's in Aries, we need to know where that is in your chart. So that's going to be people who are going to be most affected. But also, we have Aries placements also very affected, Libra especially so, as the south node's been will be moving through there, but also other cardinal signs such as Cancer and Capricorn. And speaking of the Capricorn, we do have Pluto moving in Capricorn at 29 degrees at this point, and it's going to be hovering around there until 2024 and on and off. So there's going to be a lot of these kind of issues, Plutonic, that we've seen this year, globally, especially when it's coming to like institutions, government, these roles of corporations and privacy and the dissolution of at least in one sense our trust in these institutions, especially when it comes to AI, as Pluto's been moving into Aquarius. So as the node moves back into Aries, it's interesting because the nodes do almost always move in retrograde, so we're not coming in as a normal planet would from the beginning. Say for example, if Venus would be coming into Aries, it comes from 1 degree first and then comes down. But with the nodes, we're going backwards, so it's coming in from 30 degrees Aries and moving up. So immediately in July, August, we're going to be seeing this kind of squaring between the Pluto in Capricorn and this Aries true node. So a lot of these issues will be coming up when it comes to this particular placement, and I think the biggest part we want to understand is like this Aries energy. With the Aries energy, we want to really step into our own sense of self and focus more on our well-being, and our personal, identity, and what that means, especially when it comes to our soul path. Who are we in terms of our, grand scheme of things, and how much do you give to yourself? And that doesn't necessarily even mean within other people, whereas it your partner, perhaps you're giving too much, or there's some codependency traits going there, or perhaps within a career you are not asserting yourself as much to rise into leadership. So these are the dynamics that will be appearing. But also, within our own selves, do we give our own sense of self, our own self-care? Like, do we give too much time to other people in our lives rather than looking what we need personally? And I think it's especially evident seeing as this will be coming into July 17th at the same day as the Cancer new moon. So there is, even though Cancer is also squaring the nodes, at least by sign, the Cancerian doesn't necessarily go too well with Aries energy. It likes its protection, support, and very comfortable, whereas Aries, it just wants to go out. So a lot of the times we're going to have to move away from our comfort zones and step ahead and rise into the unknown. Aries likes to be the pioneer. It likes to move into uncharted territories. So where have we perhaps thought about going but have been too scared to, or not feel like the right time, or we've had too much other responsibilities with other people? Maybe now is that time for you to start to rise up and be able to be independent and take on that risk and be that adventurer, because it is very connected to allowing yourself to really just listen to your own needs and wants. And so with the South Node in Libra, we're looking at a way that the relationships dynamics will shift a lot. So, we might end up seeing a lot of more breakups, divorces, things like that, because people will no longer want to just be complacent within a relationship where the dynamics are not healthy. So while we might have been for a long time just dealing with that in whatever ways we can, this will be a time to really reevaluate those ideas, and reevaluate our relationship dynamics in general. Like, how are our relationships? How can we improve them? Especially when it comes to our own personal growth, and their personal growth, and how we impact each other in that sense. So there is definitely a lot of releasing of toxic relationships, overcoming people pleasing, and just being uncomfortable with being able to step out of your comfort zone and being a true self. So this is a very potent, powerful time to really step into your own sense of needs and wants. And another things we want to have opportunities within this true node is building our own self-love and trust, and trusting ourselves really completely and unconditionally, and really being bold with our assertions, and loving ourselves. That's a really big thing of Aries. If you love yourself so much, then anything can be possible, really. So self-love is a huge opportunity here with this node coming in to Aries. So, and being fearless, letting go of fear. We don't have what do you have to lose? And I think that some of these goals and challenges we might face is embracing that independence, without fear, and trusting yourself, and overcoming fears of solitude, like being alone. Maybe that's something that stops you leaving a negative relationship. So either way, you have to confront those patterns that we are looking at in terms of, especially with relationships, but also with relationships with ourselves. So having more decisiveness, that's a very South Node, Libra issue, where perhaps in being indecisive and unable to make a decision. So these are the big themes that are happening with this particular placement. Now, in terms of globally, we do have also the Pluto return of the US. We do know that it's had the Pluto return, so it's in a very similar position as the Pluto is now. And so there's still going to be a lot of tension within the United States, specifically around these themes of societal change, restructuring, questioning, reevaluating, and also having people being quite impulsive in their nature to just go against that in various ways, to kind of show their, because they're perhaps holding it on and bottling these repressed kind of feelings for so long and aren't able to necessarily be able to healthily release it. So hopefully as we see these energies unravel, we can deal with them constructively, deal with them with a less of this impulsivity, which is more of the shadow side of Aries, where we are just being completely self-centered and not really, bringing about positive change, whether it's within ourselves or others. We're just kind of being like a bratty child, where or a spoiled child, where we want our way and we're just gonna make a mess of it until we get what we want. So we want to kind of avoid that kind of mentality and behaviors. So it will force us to confront ourselves of things we've been avoiding, and breaking through from the structures, breaking through this Aries and from anything this Capricorn Pluto has tied us down with. So what do we want to break free from? What do we want to shift? Why we want that is all these questions to really initially especially ask ourselves, because it's the Pluto square to these true node will give us a lot of insight into where the areas we can shift. So that's basically it for this video. Let us know again what planets you have in Aries or Libra, or how you feel specifically with the things that we've been talking about, and how they've been relating specifically to you, and how you feel that this next exciting shift of the true nodes and south node will affect our lives on a global level. So that's all the time we have today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Make sure again you like and subscribe, and let us know in the comments what other topics you'd like us to talk about. So thank you so much.